Hi guys, so today we're going to have a go at making ourselves a long hive. So we've done some drawings, some plans and a cutting list for bits on the hive. So it's a standard 8x4 board of plywood. So we've got it set up, got a saw set up there. Just going to rip some bits down now. Get ourselves away, start making some beehives. So this is going to be a bit of an experimental hive. So it's going to be a long hive running on British national frames, but I'm going to make it so it's 4 standard nationals wide, so we can then look at potentially adding supers on top. So the actual brew box is a 14x12 box, and then we're going to try and add 1, 2, 3, 4 supers on top eventually. See how that goes. Again, just an experiment. First time building a hive. Still not got bees yet, but we'll see how we get on. So we've just ripped down 2 long lengths there now. That'll make the sides. We'll keep going. So now we've got the front, the back, and the 2 side pieces cut. I'm just going to router out some grooves in these now to take the front and back into there. So I've now set up a jig with the router. I'm just coming along a 10mm groove in depth by the width of my ply, which is 25mm. We'll slot the board in, we can glue and screw it then to make it a nice secure joint. So just on to routing out the sides now for the dividers between the individual hive boxes. I'm not going to permanently fix these. I'm going to make a slot in board, so if I wanted to use it as perhaps 2 hives as one, or just use it as a standalone hive without putting the supers on top that I want to do. But yeah, so just a little 10mm groove right the way through. So we'll have another board then that'll divide them between it. So just running across the edge, nice straight edge there, to give us a nice groove, ready to put the dividers in. So now we've routed the grooves in through the centre. So we'll make 3 boards now that'll split the long hive into 4 national size hives. It'll take the 14x12 standard national frames to be super deep brewed, and then the supers are on top. So what I've done now, just rebaited the front and rear rails. Frame sits now across the rebate. On both sides, you've still got to clamp everything together, fix and screw. So I've now finished the front and back top rails. They're obviously not fitted yet, but we're just doing a dry mock-up of everything. The front and rear lower rails have also been cut and chamfered, splayed on the edge there, just to get the water to run off as it comes down the hive body. You can just run away. Also cut the first of the 3 dividers. As you can see, it'll make then 4 separate boxes. So just cut this with some notches, same as a frame really, just a nice tight fit. Just slots into the rebates inside. I flipped the main body of the hive over, just making some spaces for the bottom now. So the roller mesh will be fixed to here. These will then be fixed on top, and we'll make a hard floor to go into the bottom, and then a solid floor as well. So we just made some landing boards, so these will overlap the end slightly, so just routed a bit of a bevel on the edge for the landing board. So this is the final mock-up now before we start fixing things together. So I've gone right through the whole cutting list. Everything's cut for the hive to this point. I've not started on the roof yet. I'm going to get this all built together, then look at working on the roof. So what we've done, what I'm probably going to do first of all is fix the top and bottom, front and back rails to the actual body. So I'll fix that together. Probably going to put some wood glue down there, get the brad gun out and throw a load of tack through both top and bottom then, just to get that fixed into place. What I'm going to do with the end boards, I'm going to drill through, put some pilot holes into the end grain with the ply. I've got some 3mm screws, or maybe 3.5mm screws then, just as an additional fixing to the glue. I may use the nail gun along the end as well, just to get it really secure. It's all squared up. We've got it set on the bench. Every compartment in there is square. Frames fit quite neatly. Dividers again, they're quite solid. So I've clamped all the way along, put some glue on both sides first, so on the timber and on the ply. Then we've put them down, clamped them, used the nail gun then, about 4-inch intervals, gone along and nailed all the way down. So I've got the front and back panels and the front and back rails all glued and tacked together. Just pop some concrete blocks on there for some weight now, just so I can use the clamps to carry on doing other bits. I could probably do with about another 20 clamps really. So after allowing the glue to go off overnight under the weight of the blocks, the sides of top and bottom rails are pretty well stuck, so they're stapled along as well. They've held really well. So I've just mocked it up again, still not fixed the ends on. What I'm probably going to do is protect the edges of all the wood before I fit the end pieces. So we're going to seal these ends, seal inside all the grooves before they go together, and just to give the best protection for longevity. Also going to try and stain the fronts, and then perhaps a polyurethane clear protector over the top of it then, to keep the weather off on there. When I was waiting for him to go off last night, I've cut some additional pieces to make 2 smaller long hives. So they're going to be a standard brood height and only 2 nationals long. So they'll end here, but I'll have 2 individual ones of those. Set up the front and back of the standard depth brood long hives that I'm making now. So we're going to just route a 1-inch groove right the way down the centre to allow our dividers go in to split it into 2 hives. Pretty much the same as the original hive I made. We've got the 2 smaller hive boxes now, so we've gone for the standard depth on these ones. We've routed out the centre divider, and this is the second one. So with the way it worked out with cuts on the wood, the bit of ply I had for this end was a bit short, by about 50mm, so I put a piece of pine that I had knocking around on the end. You'll also notice on these ones I've not left my 15mm block. All I'm going to do is just pick it up and use the front and rear rails to hold it in place. So I've cut all the ply for the crown boards. So we need 8 in total. So we've got 9mm ply, and then enough framing to make it up so we've got a bee space on one side and none on the other. So the framing then is just going to go around the outside just to make a square up on the one side of it. So I'll glue and staple that. The 8 crown boards now all in the clamps. So we've glued them and then just gone along with the staple gun, put 16mm staples in there, so they've gone through quite far to the 9mm. You can, or I could have just used a 9mm piece of ply. I put the spacer on just for versatility. As I'm making different hives, it allows me to use it this way up, so the bottom's flat if we've got a bottom bee space, or I can turn it over if I've got a top bee space, and this will give the bees room to go over the tops of the frames then. So the last few days of lockdown I've kept myself quite busy. So we started first with the first long hive, which will take the standard national supers on top. So there's 4 chambers to this one. I've got a divider board that we can take out, so we can run it as one long hive if we want, or 2 separate long hives, or any mix of the others. Also made the crown boards, made them both ways, so we've got the 9mm ply and a 9mm collar around it to give us the gap. I will eventually cut some holes in them for feeders and things like that. Then we went on to make 2 of the twin long hives. Again, there's a divider board that sits in the centre, and this is the other one then, still flat packed. Another board of wood, so we went on to make some nuke boxes. So I cut all the components for the nuke boxes. So I'm going to make 2 with a solid floor and 2 with either a mesh floor or no floor, so they can be stacked up. So we've got quite a bit of time spent in lockdown.